Cheers, welcome to my channel. This is middle of the month for February Tarot Oracle reading. And Pisces, you are the star of this astrological insight. If your sun sign is not Pisces, we still all have a little bit of Pisces in us. If you have your birth chart, which house is Pisces in, that is where this energy shows up for you. My goal is to provide valuable information to empower you. Keep in mind that this is a general or collective reading, meaning that parts of it may or may not resonate with you. So just take what works for you and leave the rest. Also, this is a timely reading, meaning if you're watching this at this time, it is the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it's been a while since I posted this, what was going on back then in your life, it may give you further insight as to your situation now. So we're going to begin with the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck. Okay, being left out in the cold. All right, that's a great start, isn't it, Pisces? Don't panic. This card has several meanings, as all the tarot cards do, and it'll depend on what the context is of the other ones. So being left out in the cold can quite often represent isolation. And the energy is quite often because of tactics that have been used and caused you to be in this position. There's two people here, and they, one is barefoot in the snow and the other one is on crutches with a bell hanging from their neck. And that is, the bell is from, in the old days, they used to put a bell on you if you had the plague or they thought you had the plague. And then people could hear you coming before you got into town or into the village. They could, run away and hide. So I think that made it really difficult to get employment or, shop for groceries, that kind of energy. So this is talking about tactics being used quite often. This card for me is the snowflakes. It's just a double play on words because I was interested in some information that came forward from Edward Snowden, and he was working contracting for NSA, and he was identified 7 tactics that the government uses, that corporations use, and also what we use. And that's what I noticed the most is, the tactics that they were using are tactics that people play out on each other. And I've saying this a lot, is that if we didn't employ these tactics against ourselves and others, then we wouldn't employ people who would use these tactics. It just wouldn't be a thing. And I feel like that's important to acknowledge. So, some people think he's a hero for exposing like the privacy, how our privacy is being invaded. And some people feel he's a traitor. I don't know enough about the legalities of that, but I just felt that the information about the tactics was very valuable. And so the snowflakes are because of the Snowden. And because I'm Canadian. And so it's kind of talking about, we can all handle a flake or two, but when they gang up together, then it can become a lot to handle. And if you've ever lived somewhere where it snows a lot, at first, when it first snowfall, it's so pretty and it's, it's so pretty. And then after a few months of it, you're like, oh, because if, if it's snowing and it's really cold outside and you have to go to work, then you have to get up probably an hour earlier so you can shovel your driveway or snow blow it, whatever, to get out of your driveway so that you can get to work. And then it's harder to get to work because of the icy roads and, all of that. And then it might be snowing all day while you're at work. And when you get home, you're going to have to shovel for another hour just to get back into your driveway. And it costs way more to heat your house. And it's just, everything's that added element to make it more challenging. And so that's kind of when, the snowflakes pile up on us, it can actually collapse our roof. So this can be that kind of energy of being left out in the cold. And it can be sometimes due to our own tactics that we use against ourselves and also the tactics that others use against us. I have to acknowledge my co-pilot here. She just discovered that I started a reading without her. And that was like, oh my goodness, you were sound asleep. Yeah. So her job is to, she's so funny, her job is to purr and raise the vibration for the readings, and she takes it very seriously. She's got happy feet right now. She's already purring. She's getting ready to settle in. She makes it a little awkward sometimes for me to be able to navigate, but it's worth it because of the vibe, right, Stella? You're doing a good job, yes. I'm sorry for starting without you. So she felt left out in the cold. This card, though, has been coming up a lot in the readings in a different way. And that is that, sometimes we can feel like we're the odd person out because we're not supposed to be blending in, because we're supposed to stand out like a sore thumb because we're a star. And you're not supposed to be part of the puzzle. You're supposed to be the one putting the puzzle together. And so think of it in those terms. And it's talking about like the Five of Pentacles. It's just representing like being left out, basically, out of everything. So the pentacles represent health, wealth, happiness, and abundance in the 3D world on Earth. So if you're in this position, of course, your life is not going to be as pleasant as it is for other people. Having said that, it's probably way less complicated as well. So we have the energy of the moon coming in for the internal forces. Now that doesn't surprise me at all. The moon card represents this lobster is climbing out of the emotional waters, and it's about staying on your path, being dedicated to staying on your path, regardless of what's happening around you. And so the thing is to stay in between these two pillars here. And then we have a domestic dog and a wolf or a coyote, however you look at that. And having to pass by them and be vulnerable. And this is talking about your domestic side and your wild side. And so sometimes we feel like taking a walk on our wild side and we get diverted off our path. And sometimes we're so domestic that we miss out on the opportunities on our path. And so this is talking about staying on your destined path. And the energy of the moon on the 17th of February, we're moving into the Chinese New Year of the fiery horse. We're leaving the year of the snake energy on the 17th. Plus, there's a new moon in the sign of Aquarius. And so Aquarius is about what are the needs of the whole, like what does the group need? What does the community need? That kind of energy. And that is opposed, of course, by Leo energy, because Leo's opposite the wheel from Aquarius. And Leo is about, what about me? Leo's meant to be a leader, but it's like I have to stand out from the crowd if I'm going to lead kind of energy. And so it's that back and forth. And on February 1st, we had a full moon in Leo. So now, like the Aquarius energy, now it's just the same energy, but opposing, right? And so this is talking about, what are our inner needs compared to our, being part of the group kind of energy. So this is kind of an interesting card to come up in this context. And we have, oh, sorry, did you bang your head? Hold on. Okay. You silly girl. She thought I forgot to feed her, so she was checking to see if she had any breakfast there. You're going to have to wait until after this reading, Stella. So we have the energy of the moon here, and we on that 17th, we have the new moon, we have the year of the horse coming in, and we have a solar eclipse. So this is going, and that's what this energy, it shows the sun, the moon as a full moon and as a partial moon. So that's or as a new moon, basically. So this is the energy is saying the moon, the energy of the moon this week, going into up till the 17th, and probably for a good half a week after, is going to be quite intense with all of that energy. And the eclipse, usually, this is the first eclipse of the eclipse season for the year 2026, and it's going to have a little bit of a wallop to it. And we're going to be feeling that for it can be up to about 6 months. So this is, the moon energy right now is quite intense. Well, there's a lot of astrological influences, but that's the main ones that are affecting all of us. So the first card we have here is the Lovers. So this is about making a choice about who you want to be with. We also have Valentine's Day coming up on the 14th. And so that's just in a few days here. And love is on people's minds a bit right now. And this is talking about maybe meeting someone that you're really interested in as a lover. This is talking about maybe you haven't met them yet. There's a cloud in between the two. So you might not have met this person yet. It could be talking about someone new coming into your life. And also, this card can be talking about the masculine and the feminine energies. Within yourself. So being balanced in your masculine and your feminine energy. And listening to what I call the higher self network, HSN. And so listening to your higher self. HSN, the HSN network is similar to MSN, texting, all of that, being able to communicate back and forth. Having said that, the main difference is that with the internet that we use on a day-to-day basis, you know when you're on it because you're texting or whatever and communicating. Whereas with HSN, you're on that communication whether you're aware of it or not. And so then we have the energy of, we have heartbreak, or a heartbreaking decision has to be made. So what is this about? We don't know yet. At first when you see this card, it talks about the energy of some sort of heartbreak. And you look at it and you see 3 swords. This isn't good. There's 3 swords in the heart. Having said that, when you look again, you realize, wait a minute, the heart's quite big here compared to the swords. So these are more like pinpricks or like nails maybe. And so a person could possibly heal from this, And this is also talking, is this a cliff with a cloud, or is this a human being with the shoulders, the throat, and the head in the clouds maybe? And then we have, this energy is quite often talking about a third party involvement. We have a couple that is divided by a third person. The swords represent your thoughts and your mental intelligence and, your discipline of your mind. And so this energy can also be talking about the energy of gossip. It can be of harsh words being used in a relationship. It can be about having to make a potentially heartbreaking decision. So quite often this sometimes means that someone's been caught cheating and now there's going to be a divorce happening, or, what's going to happen now kind of energy. So we have the King of Pentacles here. So the Pentacles are representing health, wealth, happiness, and abundance, as I said. A big part of that, of course, is money, but you could have all the money in the world and still not be living the lifestyle you want, which is kind of said right here, basically. So if you felt like your lover and you were going along fine, and then you find out, they've been sneaking around behind my back, then you're not really living the best lifestyle. And that's what the Pentacles is about. So the King of Pentacles is someone who's really admired for his business acumen. Someone who's very good, like with Pentacles. And it would be someone in the profession, probably high up, because he's the king. And this would be about, bankers, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, like at the top of, and CEOs and top financial advisors in a corporation or a business. This could represent someone who's an entrepreneur and owns their own business and is doing really well with that. It can represent, a lot of times it can represent real estate, because the Pentacles are representative of the element of earth. And then we have, some temptation came in. Now you could be the King of Pentacles, and because that's about the only, you're not the devil, but the devil might be using you. So we'll look into this in a second. So this is talking about, how you're identifying yourself as a lover. And you could be the King of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles could be the person who is your lover. And, this cloud is kind of with this energy saying you don't know them as well as you thought you did, kind of energy. And so the devil is representative of temptation. And so the temptation, clearly, if there's a third party involved in the relationship, and this is again talking about an imbalance of masculine and feminine energies. If you look at the card here, I mean, it doesn't, which would you rather be? These people are chained to each other and they're yoked, and they are chained to the box of Saturn, and the devil is sitting there hunched over them, in between them. So it's also representing this energy, because these two, they're chained together, but they maybe don't want to be together, if you understand what I'm saying. And this is talking about Saturn's box, and the devil is he's hunched over them, kind of. And this is representing animal instinct, and talking about, this is less about lovers and more about lust and being tempted. And so they might have, and now they're yoked together. And this could be because they both could be married and be cheating on their partners. And now the shift has hit the fan, kind of energy is what I'm getting. And that could be they're left out in the cold, because if you get divorced, you usually end up with half of what you used to have, kind of energy, when it comes to the Pentacles. And so when the devil card comes up, I always cover it with the next card, because you're not going to get the truth from the devil. The devil's all about manipulation. And, the devil's not going to tempt you and say, oh, I have the ugliest, stinkiest thing for you, but you're going to want it anyway. And I'm going to manipulate you. And then I'm going to get you to sell your soul. Come with me. And you'll be like, no, thank you. But the devil tempts you with shiny things that you really like, things that you're like, whoa, I've always wanted that, kind of energy. So we're going to just cover him and see, who does he send in to do his dirty work, because he never does his own work himself. He sends one of his minions in, or what was it about, and also, or does God step in and stop it from happening, or stop you from making a choice. So this is talking about the Page of Swords, some sort of communication coming in that's tempting in some way. So never had it quite, this page come in before like this. So this is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is, it's talking about communication coming in. The pages would work for the king and queen in the royal court, and they would be within the palace walls. They would generally be between the ages of 7 to 14 when they would begin working for the king and queen. And then when they became older, when they were 21, if they could afford a horse and they were good at what they were doing, they would be given more responsibility and possibly put up for knighthood. So this energy is talking about some sort of communication coming in. We have so many forms of communication now that we didn't have before. So this could be through, an email, a phone call, a text message, a message on social media post, that kind of energy. The Page of Swords, he's the one page of the 4 that is not focused on his element. And this is talking again about like these swords. I feel like some communication has come in regarding this. And so someone found out somehow what was going on. And this is talking about thinking outside the box and being a visionary. And sometimes this communication, this indicates that you maybe have hired a private detective or, someone else to be your eyes for you. This always reminds me of someone who's golfing because of the position of the swing. And I feel like, golf is a very mental game. You need to keep your mind very disciplined so that, like, if you have a really bad first hole, that you can still stay in the game for the rest of the 17 holes. And so this energy quite often is like keeping your eye on the ball, like what's going on. And that can represent investigation into something that happened here. So yeah, I feel like, and this could be you found out from gossip kind of energy. Everybody else knew but you kind of energy. That really makes a person feel isolated. So let's see some more what's going on here. We have the wounded warrior. So the wounded warrior energy is when you've been through it. You know, you have these 8 wands planted, and it's talking like, you know, you've planted some seeds and they grew up and you have a harvest, and it's a substantial one. But it's not what you thought it was, or like it's not how you really, how you expected it to turn out, basically. And this is talking about doing your best to stay on your path, but you're standing, but you're wounded. Like it's and it's about, okay, I've managed to get this done here, but there's got to be a better way than this, and it's not what I thought it was. Like like you might have thought your lover and you were sitting in the sun, and your lover's been behind your back in the dark, you know, kind of energy. And then the people that you thought you could trust didn't tell you, even though they knew. And so it's that kind of energy. It's like your heart's been wounded. And that's representing this here. I'm just moving these around because I want to make sure you can see the whole reading. And then, so let's see what happens here. So we have the 2 of Pentacles. Yes, or 2 of Wands. So the Wands do represent action. So this is, you know, actions that you've taken or other people have taken that have wounded you. So this explains this situation pretty clearly. And then this is someone standing at the top of the turret of their castle. And, you know, for all of us, our home is our castle kind of energy. And this is someone that's, well, I guess I've, you know, I've got the world in my hands here, or I thought I did. And it's not what I want. And I feel like maybe it's time to move forward and go somewhere else. And that's what this person's trying to decide. They feel like a big fish in a little pond. They feel isolated. They don't feel like they belong in this arena that they've been in anymore. They feel betrayed by their lover and by the people around them. And they're just kind of, you know, I've been successful. This is saying you've been very successful when it comes to money, but maybe not so much with love. And it's talking about, you know, I think I'm going to consider moving to expanding my horizons and moving somewhere else. So this can be about making a very serious move in your life. And so it could be, again, that divorce energy. And it also could be actually making a move. Like, I really want to move away from here and do something else or be with someone else. Like, it's about actually changing location, like to another city, another province or state, you know, another country even. And so that's the energy there, making that decision and feeling like, yeah, I don't belong here anymore. That's the energy. So that explains this card here. And I'm just going to go through this. So this is how you thought that you had you and your lover were, you know, happy. The sun is here. And then you found out. And so this is, you're feeling heartbroken right now. You're feeling betrayed. You're feeling like you've been left out in the cold. That's how you feel. Yet you are abundant when it comes to the possibilities of your lifestyle. The King of Pentacles is someone, as I said, that has been successful. And so this is your communication in early life here. So I feel like you came from maybe an entrepreneur type family with a family business, possibly, that kind of energy. And maybe that's making this decision like, hey, mom and dad, I'm out of here. That kind of energy. I don't want to stick around here anymore. And then we have the emotional foundation, and it's definitely been shaken. So it's talking about not, you know, feeling betrayed, and also, you know, just kind of, you know, the energy I'm picking up here is feeling like the thing, like when your foundation is shaken like this, it's kind of like not trusting your own basic instincts, like your own common sense. Like, how could this have happened and I didn't see it, and all these other people knew about it and they didn't tell me, and that kind of energy. So that's therefore this energy here. But your intuition was probably yelling at you. There's something going on here, you know. And here we have about creativity and romance and that kind of energy. And it's kind of like, the energy. You might have children, and that could be a big part of why you didn't want to notice kind of energy, because you didn't want to have to like deal with it and then get divorced and all of that energy. And then we have the, yeah, this has really changed your daily routine for sure, and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And this can also be talking about different habits that you have that now you want to change kind of energy, like working too many hours and not paying attention to what's going on at home, etc., that kind of energy. We have the external forces coming in, and they create a tower for you. A tower for the people that, like your partner that was cheating, as well as a tower for you. So this is like if you were laying in bed at night and going, what if they are cheating? You know, what would I do then? You know, what if, you know, that happens? And what if this happens? And what if I have to sell my house? And what if I, you know, like, what's going to happen? And is it possible? What if other people knew? And then you find out, oh, then what are the external forces? What the EF happened here. And so the external forces are like, so all of you knew about this, and none of you thought it might be a good idea to tell me. Oh, well, we just didn't want to get involved, you know. Thank you for nothing, basically, is the energy that I'm feeling it off of here, and feeling really betrayed. And that's the double whammy of the double-edged swords. Is like, it's not just about the relationship you had with your lover, but now it's questioning every relationship you've ever had, basically, with your friends and family, etc. And so, the tower comes about quite often because it's a reality check. And it's like somewhere inside yourself, you knew this was happening, but you just didn't want to see it. And your intuition would be yelling at you. It's sitting right above the intuition here. You know, hey, you need to take a look at this. At first, it's a whisper. Then it's like the frying pan, whack. And you're like, ouch. And they're like, yeah, you need to take a look at this. And you're like, okay, I will do it next week. And then next week comes and you get busy, and then another week goes by, and then it's like all of a sudden, bang. And, you know, it's a 2x4 treatment. A lightning bolt hits your house. Now your turret's on fire. So you can't be standing there at the top of it anymore wondering, I wonder if I should make a move. Well, the universe did it for you. So it's kind of like, we learn this over the years. Like, you know that feeling when, ugh. And no, a lot of times they will ignore it. But the problem is that never underestimate the power of willful ignorance, basically. And so there's two people falling out of this tower. One of them is surprised. The other one is, ugh, I was wondering when this was going to happen. There was a lot of gossip and that kind of energy, you know. And so this is the external forces changing, you know, and it's always like sudden. Even though this has been creeping up on you, it'll feel very sudden. And for whatever reason, it always happens at the exact worst time. Like right when you're like just about to celebrate something, or, you know, that kind of energy. And so we have the Page of Wands energy coming in. And yes, this is talking about, doesn't matter the age of the person, but the Page of Wands is very passionate and enthusiastic. And we're talking about someone who's 21 or under, a male energy. And he's, you know, how he's like full of himself. Like he wants to explore the mysteries of the world. And you'll notice he's very focused on his wand. He really, really, really likes his wand a lot. And so this energy is saying he's got a feather in his cap. And it's a passionate feather. It's red. And so it's saying quite often you have to take into consideration the words from this person, because they're quite often thinking with their little head rather than their big head. And this can also be male or female in this energy. So, and it could be of any age also. So it's more talking about a lot of people outgrow this energy, but some people might be 40 or 50, and you know, we call that midlife crisis. That's when all of a sudden we're thinking like this, like how we like when we were like 20, you know, kind of energy, and wanting to have the freedom. And we got 4 kids and a wife and 2 jobs and a mortgage to pay. But like, it's like, I don't want to be in that energy. I want to be in this energy. I want to be passionate. And, and that's how this ends up happening a lot of the time. We have temperance coming in. So this is talking about staying on your path can be difficult, as I said. Temperance is when she's using alchemy. She's got her right foot, which is about taking action in the universe and adding her own special qualities to that universal water. And then also having a foot grounded on land so that you're able to bring what it is you want onto land. And staying on your path, which is represented by the sun in the background at the end of this path. A lot of times, a lot of people believe this is the Earth Angel card. Someone that's sent down to Earth that is like in human form, that tries to get more fairness in the world. And just someone that, an angel doing God's work on the planet. And then we have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, so this is kind of saying the Queen of Swords most often is someone who's divorced or separated. And it's just talking about, like, the Queen of Swords is sometimes considered like the coldest queen of the 4 queens. She's always got her sword up. She's just cold. And she's kind of like, come in right. You better come in right. You don't talk to me if you're going to come in with bullshit. She's got her sword up in her right hand, always ready. She has her left hand out, so she's willing to, hear you out as long as you come in straight. But she's been there, done that. She has the t-shirt. She has the souvenir. She has zero desire to go back to that energy. Her head is now above the clouds. She's learned the hard way. And this is saying quite often this could be that there is going to be a divorce, because whether this is a male or a female, because remember, it's it could be either or in their feminine energy, which means they're more in their intuitive energy and their feelings than they are in a logical way so much. This energy is saying, I'm out of here. That's basically the energy. And then we have the Magician coming in. So when the Fool begins their journey at the 0 point, the very first card they come across is the Magician. And so the Magician is pointing to the heaven and the earth. And he's saying you can bring heaven down to earth. You have infinite potential. Here are the tools that you need. They're right on the bench here to create a garden. Or not. Depends on what you do with the energy. So, but this is an energetic upgrade. Saying that this situation, even if you're separated, it's better than being in this energy and not knowing it. Like, because there's also the energy of health coming up here. So how often or who with and how many times and how many people has your partner been with, and have they been using protection, that kind of energy. And so this is someone who probably has been very busy, I'm getting. And while you've been busy working, they've been busy juggling their morals and juggling their options. And this is what this card is talking about. It's talking about multitasking, being very busy. You're very busy bringing the pentacles in, and they're very busy with their lover behind your back kind of energy. So this is work hard, play hard. This is good, bad, like juggling all the things. And this is also, this card says juggle your options, but never your morals. So it's talking someone juggled their morals here, clearly. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is good. This is saying that the 10 of Pentacles represents, it's raining money. And so I feel like the energy will be a fair settlement, and you might only have half of what you had before, but you're going to have a better lifestyle. Remember when I said sometimes when you're left out in the cold, it's a much less complicated lifestyle, because the thing is, in the past, you might have been someone who was always, helping other people out, and okay, you worked all day, but okay, I'll do this for you and I'll do that, and I'll go pick grandma from the hospital, and that kind of energy. And now you're like, none of you shift heads bothered to tell me what's going on. I don't feel obligated to do anything for you. Now that's that Leo Aquarius energy coming in. And it's just talking about being able to have the lifestyle you want. Like now, you don't have to consider so much. Even if you have children, you're still going to want to consider them, hopefully. But having said that, it's talking about being able to set up your house how you want it set up and having that independence again. So sometimes that can be a real benefit, especially if you're in this energy and you're just tired of this, of always trying to please others that you can't please clearly because behind your back this is happening. And so, yeah, this is the reading. It's not the most wonderful story, but don't feel bad, Pisces, because I did a whole 12 different readings for Valentine's Day last week. I wanted to do it earlier. And oh my goodness, I thought it would be all fluffy and, oh, this will just be light and it would just be fun to do. And it was like tough love. I was like, oh. And I feel like that has a lot to do with what's going on the planet right now with the files coming out, with all the energy that's coming out around that. There's just the economy, like people worrying and all that energy out there in the world right now that if I feel like it's important that we watch the news for about 5 minutes. We got to be careful which news we watch because a lot of it is just bullshit. Like the Queen doesn't probably watch the news. But you have to use your intuition. And it's good to know what's going on in the world because it trickles down into our lives for sure. And it helps us to prepare for certain things that we maybe wouldn't see coming otherwise, and ending up in a tower. So, but, in small measure, because there's so much, like every time, like there's something and then you'll have 2 or 3 days and it's just like intensely that, all the bad news and everybody analyzing it to death kind of. And then some other disaster happens and they focus on that kind of energy. But this time it's a little bit different because this is like, there's enough fodder there to last. Like there's enough information coming out just about those files that we could be here for the whole year, I feel like, deciphering what the heck was going on here. And it's really making big changes in the world right now. Like it's really significant. Like right now, there's a lot of people protesting the royalty in the UK right now because of some of the information in the files, and then it's dredging up other stuff of like in the royal family and re-dredging up stuff. And so like people are like, protesting in the streets, and it's kind of that kind of energy. So it's like things that you never thought would change are changing right before our eyes. Like we're watching, it's really an interesting time. And at the same time, it's also like very volatile, and it can be too much of the information from outside is just puts people in this kind of juggling energy. And sometimes, and the energy that with the fire horse energy, it is people wanting to do impulsive things. Like, I want to be free. I want to be a free spirit, but you're not. You have like a wife or a husband and 4 kids and a mortgage. And so you're not free. And you have a responsibility to those, to your children. And so it's kind of, you have to get to work despite whether it's snowing or not. Like I said, you got to go shovel that driveway, And then when you come home from work and you're tired, you got to shovel the driveway again. It's just another layer kind of. And so that's the kind of energy we're talking about. And then the fire horse energy, that's the danger of this energy for this whole year coming up, is not flying off the handle and, losing your temper without knowing the true facts. And then it's also talking about the energy of of being left out in the cold and sticking out. And sometimes that's a good thing. So it's that kind of energy. Plus, one thing that I also wanted to mention for you, Pisces, while I'm tuning in with these cards here, the energy of Pisces is really feeling Neptune on January 26th left your sign and moved into Aries. And it was kind of back and forth, but it was in Pisces for 14 years. And so Pisces and Aries are really feeling that energy a lot because Neptune is about being idealistic and, having like kind of a dreamy nature. And now all of a sudden, bang, it's in Aries and it's aggressive and it's okay. You know, all that stuff that you learned for the last 14 years, throw that out. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, because times are changing now. Like a lot of the foundations that you built that information on are changing. And it's like, oh, great. So now I got another 14 years of new. Yes, yes, you do. And it's starting off right now today because it's the 17th of February. It's that kind of energy. And Pisces is really like, as Neptune left your sign, Neptune takes 14 years to go into each sign. So it won't be back in your sign again until like 160 years from now. So it won't be in your lifetime. And so Pisces is feeling that energy quite intensely right now. So if you're kind of wondering why you're feeling kind of funky and you can't find a reason, it could be that energy, because Neptune's a big planet. And it's, you know, it's powerful, that energy of idealism, like looking at the bright side instead of the dark side kind of energy. And isn't that even like just being shown so clearly on these two cards here, you know? All right, so I'm going to use my Oracle Tales from the Vector, TAILS, to clarify. And this is something I started in 2007, and 2020 I completed the 64 paintings. I've had it out and about in the past at seminars when I used to teach them and at psychic fairs, but now I have all the paintings done. And I'm ready to print that part out, but I need the information to go along with it. And what better way than to play with the cards? So. And this is something that has been coming up a lot. And I'm really, because you know how a relationship can look really good on paper, but in reality, it's not so great. It's that kind of energy. Like the energy from these cards looks really good. I have it written up, but what about when you actually put them into action? What happens when you're, you know, using them? And that's why I want to play with them for quite until I feel satisfied. Oh, okay. Because I'm seeing so many different angles with the cards by doing this. And it just, the more knowledge you have, then the more, you know, the better you can read. And I will put this in the description box below in the order that they appear. All right. When the devil came out, Stella left. She does not like that energy. She always leaves. It's really funny. She's a funny little cat. So we have, this is about perception or father figures. Oh, I thought it was okay. So this is a major accomplice. And this is the energy of turning, you know how they say you kiss a frog and you turn the frog into a prince? This is more like turning a frog or turning a prince into a frog. So it's kind of that energy, right? You know, it's talking about father figures. And so sometimes when people are younger, it really, if they don't have a strong father figure, for girls, if they're not daddy's little girl, then they'll look for that in all their love relationships. And if they're looking like they're a teenager and it's their first, you know, relationship, and it's with a 15-year-old boy, and they think, oh, this guy's just like the father I've always wanted. It could be problematic, as you can imagine. And also, like for same sex, like if you're a young man and you didn't have a strong father figure, like they've done a lot of studies around this, and statistically, your life is going to be way more challenging if you have a strong father figure. It's going to be easier to understand the responsibilities of being a man, and so sometimes we have to learn things the hard way. So this is about a transition coming in for sure. And that's that moon energy, because the moon is a time to use your intuition, and sometimes logic just doesn't cut it. And then we have the energy of Sagittarius. So yeah, wanting adventure, you know, that's the kind of expansion, like wanting more people in your life rather than contraction. So that's, okay. So, and I just want to point out, when these horoscope signs come up in my readings, the Sagittarius energy is not, it's not saying, oh, it's a Sagittarius. It could be in your situation. Having said that, take that for yourself and use your intuition. But my goal isn't identifying, oh, it's a Sagittarius that would do that. I find it kind of funny, like you know, you see some tarot readers have like 100,000, you know, or way more than that, subscribers, and they can't all just be Sagittarius, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, and really, we have a little bit of each sign in us. So what I'm focusing on is what can we learn from the energy when Sagittarius is in its best state. It's about, being really adventurous and free-spirited and that kind of energy. And so, of course, if you get in that energy and you become impulsive, and like this is Sagittarius energy, it's coming in bang right here. And we have this new moon energy, and Sagittarius energy and the fiery horse energy are very, very close to each other. Like they're very similar. And so if you have a partner that's a Sagittarius, they're going to be feeling this energy and be more impulsive than they normally are. And so that's the danger of the fire horse energy, is being really impulsive and making, decisions you regret later and running with them, And then all of a sudden it's like you come to your senses and you're like, what the heck did I do here? So there's some jealousy here. So if you find out your partner has been cheating on you, that's probably happening. But that's when you have to make the decision, I'd rather be better than bitter. Does that mean, can you forgive this person? Because if you can't forgive them, then maybe it's time to move on. We have Virgo energy. So this is talking about being a young adult, like kind of at the stage of life where maybe you've been going to school and now you have the degree, being in university or whatever, and you have the degree, or, that kind of energy of maybe you've been working really hard at being in a sport or whatever, and now the scouts are all looking for you and you get on the team, professional level, that kind of energy. And it's also all about communication. So the Virgo energy is represented by communication, and Virgo's like everything lined up. And the energy of the Virgo energy also has a lot to do with this energy here, because Virgos are really good at seeing if something's out of place, and they like things clean, like I said, and in order. And so they can give a really good analytical critique that can be very empowering. At the same time, there's a fine line between analytical critique and anal criticism. And sometimes Virgos tend to go in that direction. They go a little overboard, and they'll do it with themselves first and foremost, but they're used to themselves and they'll put up with it from themselves, but other people won't. And so that's that kind of energy of knowing where that fine line is. And then we have the guiding star. So if you're using your intuition, you should be able to smell the devil out from a mile away. But the tower hits because something's telling you, in the back of your mind, hey, there's something that I need to take care of here, but you just don't feel like doing it. And we all fall into that space sometimes. And then we have the moon sitting right by the moon here, saying again, this energy you can't stay in this energy forever, right? It's time to do something different. To, reckless abandon, WRECK, is making, disciplining your mind so that you have freedom, so you don't make choices that you really regret later and you can't change. We have the battle star energy, so it takes courage to face that and to make these decisions like of moving on, or am I going to stay? Am I able to forgive this energy? And then we have the tower energy is mother's worry. So I feel like, your mother could be worried about you, or if you're a mother, you could be worried, how is this going to affect the children, which is why you would stay in a situation when it's like this. Having said that, it also is a lot of people are being affected by what's going on in the world right now. I mean, it's shaken people's foundation. And what's kind of interesting is the reaction from the people like that are, running the show. And they're basically like, okay, get over it already. Like, let's move forward. Let's go, talk about other things than this. And let's sweep it under the rug. And it's like, it's normal to them. And like, it shows like, wow, someone who's in this energy here compared to this energy, Look at the difference. Like, how are you supposed to ignore it? But to them, it's normal. Like they've decided to be in this energy a long time ago, and they've been in it so long, and they're friends. Like, because of course, you know, the people you hang out with are in the same vibration as you generally, and they've all been in it. So it's like, oh, this is just normal behavior. No, it's not normal behavior. What we're seeing right now. We hope it's not normal, and a lot of people are saying, no, we're not sweeping this under the rug. This has to be dealt with. We have to do something about this. This is talking, and this is the energy right here of your communication, or sorry, your commitment and partnerships in marriage. So falling and failing in love is a matter of I. And that's what we discover after, you know, we mature, is that how much effort you put into a relationship quite often, like if you're distracted by work, and it doesn't give permission for others to be in this energy, but it's more likely to happen. That's the kind of energy. And then ignoring the reality of our situation and ignoring the signs. And also this anal criticism. Be careful how you talk to yourself, because the words of your partner might be harsh, but maybe that's because you talk like that about yourself. And so that's the energy that you are, attracting, that kind of energy. So we have the Hierophant. This is about traditional structure. And again, we have like, this energy is sitting right in your, this is about transitions, secrets coming out, that kind of energy. And look what's happening around the world, the traditional structures, we're watching them crumble around us. Like that, it's like, wow, like every day if you go on the internet and you look at what's going on, and you just even look at the Twitter, you know, like, oh, the tweets, and it's like, oh. And I mean, you could stay all day and you would, it's just never ending. And that's why it's important to do your best to understand what's going on in the world, and then digest it, and then move forward in a stronger way, rather than sitting and getting caught up in that energy and being mired down by it. This is strength. So the strength is coming in is having integrity, you know, having the strength to still be in your integrity with all of this going on, because it feels like everything's blowing up and falling apart. But, you know, this is about being able to face what's really going on in your relationships, face your worst fears, and having the integrity to dig deep enough to be able to do something about it. And then you're not doing your children any favor by not doing that. You know, like if it's, oh, I'm going to stay together because of the children. Like, children don't want to watch. They don't want to have to listen to the drama day after day. And then the dissemination of information. Elephant. What elephant? I don't see an elephant in the room. Do you see an elephant in the room? That's this energy. Then that's when the universe steps in and says, you know, bang, there, now you have to do something about it. And also, if you're standing on the top of your turret, of your castle, and you feel like, I'm the king of the world, I've got the world in my hands, bang, that's when this happens. Because you're like considering staying there for the rest of your life in that energy, like I like this place of being the king on top of the world kind of energy. And in the meantime, everything's crumbling around you and you're not even noticing. That's the kind of energy. The universe, well, you know, when you're on a pedestal, the only place you can have left to go is down. And then we have justice coming in. So yeah, it's just talking, sometimes justice in life is like the karma gets cleared. This is also about redemption from karma and that kind of energy. And we have Aquarius. Oh, there we have it. So this is talking about, you know, how we're in the age of Aquarius now, and we have that new moon coming up in Aquarius. So this moon comes up a lot in my readings right now. So I feel like with the eclipse energy, and then not long after that, I think on the 26th, Mercury is going to go retrograde, which means, like, from the point of view of the earth, it looks like it's going backwards, and there can be a lot of communication dysfunction. So it's that kind of energy that we're kind of moving into here. on the collective as a whole in the world, and also within our own relationships. Because what's happening, as the magician says, as above, so below. So whatever's happening at the top, if you've ever heard the saying, shift, flows downstream. That's the energy we're in right now. We're seeing it. All right. So Pisces, this has been a little bit like not the most fun reading, but it's very informative. And it's also for, anyone who's kind of in this energy, just like realizing, hey, this is life. This is just how life goes sometimes. And just will like and comment if you've gotten any value from this, and I would appreciate it greatly. And also consider subscribing to my channel if you resonate with the energy. And I will be back in the next few days here. Probably a couple days from now, I'll start doing the readings for that new moon coming up, because it just keeps showing up, and the eclipse. All right, Pisces, bye for now.